Under the framework of Winston's The Big Pivot, we analyze Comcast, one of the biggest global media and technology companies.
Hi, I'm Devin.
I'm Christiana.
I'm Monique.
I'm Louis.
I'm Roslyn.
And I'm Ellie.
Comcast has made a big public commitment to achieving carbon neutrality by 2035. The company has been slow to fully transition toward greener, more sustainable operations, despite many of their peers. For instance, they had a $26 million settlement over their e-waste, and many aspects of their network infrastructure continue to have significant environmental footprint. Yet, they have been taking a leap towards sustainable energy with a significant number of investments in green energy, such as solar farms and wind farms. Throughout this presentation, we'll provide suggestions on how Comcast can fully reach their goal by 2035. In fighting short-termism, currently Comcast employees' 401k plans are predominantly invested in Vanguard target retirement funds. Notably, 50% of these retirement plans are allocated to target date options, with a strong percentage of this portfolio being invested in fossil fuel companies. This investment strategy poses environmental concerns, as fossil fuel companies are responsible for about 75% of global greenhouse gas emissions, contributing significantly to climate change. Moreover, the 2050 target date plan marks sustainable investment opportunities, focusing instead on traditional energy sectors. This puts retirement plans at risk, as they're more vulnerable to becoming stranded assets, and as governments are tightening up regulations on emissions. People are moving away from fossil fuel energy to cleaner energy, and we are seeing a big shift in the fossil fuel industry.
For set science-based goals, like we said in our intro, Comcast has a set goal of carbon neutrality by 2035. To help drive improvement and implement transparency, the company uses a protocol called the Greenhouse Gas Protocol to report and publicize its efforts. Created in 1990, the protocol holds a framework for measuring, managing, and reporting emissions and is categorized by the following three scopes. 1, emissions from a company's own operations. 2, emissions from purchased electricity, steam, heat, and cooling. 3, indirect emissions from the supply chain. So far, Comcast has decreased its emissions in scopes 1 and 2 by 30% since 2019, with the lowest being in 2022 and a slight rise back up in 2023. For heretical innovation, one way that we believe Comcast is seeking it is through employee engagement. Recently, the company implemented a company-wide platform called Viva Engage. And this platform, employees can innovate, communicate, learn, and invest in company culture. On top of this, they also offer professional development, training programs, and resource groups such as the Women's Network and Young Professionals at Comcast.
In order to combat this, we think it would be in Comcast's best interest to reassess and adjust the investment options within employee retirement plans to increase allocations towards sustainable and ESG-focused funds. And Comcast can do this by selecting fund managers committed to environmental responsibility and offering employees choices that reflect their own values.
For science-based goals, the company should place more emphasis on scope 3, considering that both 1 and 2 have had success since 2019. In order to reach that neutrality by 2035, it's really important that they focus on both. And for heretical innovation, we think that Comcast is doing well regarding employee engagement, but something that they could do to make it stronger is maybe implementing a recognition program to highlight specific staff members and employees.
So the valuation pivot is comprised of changing incentive, redefining return on investment, and valuing natural capital. In terms of changing incentives at Comcast, they incentivize sustainability within the company through their employee volunteer program, Team Up, where they encourage employees to participate in community and environmental projects, helping to align their workforce with their sustainability goals. In terms of the circular economy and resource efficiency at Comcast, they have a partnership with Eco Environmental, which details that 70% of their cable and coax waste will be recycled each year through this partnership. Comcast has also launched eco-friendly initiatives like Xfinity Eco Capsule, which is a recyclable packaging system. In terms of redefining ROI, their Project Up initiative focuses on long-term community empowerment, which connects people to the internet, advances economic mobility, and opens doors for the next generations, which demonstrates their commitment to digital equity. This in turn builds loyalty, which can provide sustainable revenue streams in the future. They also have Comcast Rise, which is an initiative to support the growth of small businesses and entrepreneurs committed to uplifting local communities. In terms of valuing natural capital, not only do they provide ESG reports, providing transparency to employees, customers, suppliers, shareholders, and communities where they operate, they also have taken steps to integrate sustainability into their financial strategy as seen in their green bond allocations. On September 17th, they published their 2024 green bond report where $1 billion of proceeds were allocated to their green financing framework, which is essentially a 12-page document which details their environmental sustainability strategy.
Compensation practices are one way Comcast might improve its sustainability strategy. The company currently practices linking executive compensation to sustainability objectives, which is a positive start, but it can be expanded. Making sustainability a major component of performance appraisals for every employee is one approach to achieve this. By doing so, Comcast can have an engaged workforce that would result from this change. It can inspire workers at all levels to support sustainable objectives, which contribute to cultural development. When individual performance is in line with Comcast sustainable initiatives, environmental goals become a key component to the company's success. As another suggestion, Comcast should also develop an internal carbon pricing strategy. This implies that companies like Comcast can set a price per ton of emissions of carbon dioxide. Projects, investments, and operational choices are then assessed using the carbon price. Here, innovative concepts and fresh perspectives can be put into practice, such as investing in more sustainable projects that can reduce carbon emissions. Comcast can include carbon pricing into their overall business plan, track their emissions, and report them together with financial performance metrics. Sustainable techniques are already being included by Comcast into the business's activities such as Project Up program, which aims to reduce the digital divide and promote digital equity. But Comcast can carry out a more comprehensive examination of these initiatives through a long-term financial advantage. They would be able to see a more comprehensive picture of the actual value of each investment. It can enhance brand recognition among investors and environmentally conscious consumers. For example, it may take years for Comcast to fully recover its investment in solar power if they made the investment today. This will let stakeholders know that Comcast is dedicated to lessening the environmental impact, which would increase new, morally minded customers.
Comcast is committed to embracing the partner pivot concept that is introduced by Winston. This approach emphasizes the vital role of collaboration, lobbying, and inspiring customers. Currently, Comcast inspires its customers to use less through adopting eco-conscious practices. They advocate for fuel-efficient technologies by rolling out electric and hybrid vehicles. In 2023, they achieved a significant milestone by saving 11 million gallons of fuel compared to 2019. Their dedication to sustainability in their current operations is shown through their recyclable materials and by promoting eco-friendly initiatives across various sectors, such as film production. Through a partnership with NBC Universal and Sky, and a $1 billion commitment to Project Up, Comcast collaborates through community partnerships to make a meaningful impact by connecting undeserved communities to the internet and creating opportunities for future generations of entrepreneurs, creators, and storytellers. However, fostering systemic change requires efforts beyond internal initiatives. Comcast needs to engage in broader external collaboration. Another area of the partner pivot is becoming a lobbyist. Currently, Comcast spends upwards of $7 million on hiring lobbyists, but most of those lobbyists maintain a solid presence in the telecommunications and media policy, but not so much for sustainability initiatives. Actively influencing policies that promote sustainability on a larger scale is essential. Focusing solely on their internal practices isn't enough. Acknowledging that their past efforts in advocacy have fallen short, they need to recognize that merely reacting to current regulations isn't sufficient. Looking at the partner pivot as a whole, we can see that tackling complex global challenges through bold collaborations that extend beyond traditional partnerships is possible, but we also see that they fall short in some areas.
For our pivot suggestion, Comcast can inspire customers to use less through innovative internet plans by offering eco-mode plans. Customers would receive discounts for minimizing data use during off-peak hours. Much like energy-efficient home appliance, reduce power consumption. Additionally, a smart dashboard that could provide users with insight into their internet usage, showing environmental savings and encouraging responsible behavior. Second, the company can collaborate radically by expanding Project Up into a green startup accelerator, supporting eco-tech entrepreneurs focused on sustainability solutions. Community hubs can also involve beyond digital literacy centers to offer workshops on sustainability and entrepreneurship. Comcast Media Arm, NBC Universal, and Sky could further amplify this impact by partnering with carbon offsetting initiatives, donating to clean energy projects, and promoting these efforts through TV programming. Third, Comcast should use its lobbying power to drive sustainability policies. This include advocating for mandatory telecom device recycling and fiber network deployment, which are more energy efficient than older infrastructure. Comcast could push for electrification incentives to encourage the adoption of electric vehicles and build its own transition to a hybrid and electric fleet. Lastly, Comcast can adopt circular economy practices by shifting to a subscription-based hardware model where customers lease modems and routers, and this ensures old equipment is refurbished and reused, reducing e-waste and enhancing customer retention. The company can also implement fully recyclable packaging, incentivizing customers to return used materials for account credits. And we think that this pivot aligns Comcast business goals with sustainability and empowering customers and communities to be part of this solution. It builds the brand loyalty, strengthens community partnership, and positions Comcast as the leader in both technology and environmental impact.
To conclude, while we think that Comcast has a way to go, we think that they are on the right track to being a successful, sustainable company that innovates and inspires its employees and the world. Thank you.